All right. Yeah, hot second here to get my stuff lined up, and we're gonna do some techie stuff today. So, yeah, hot second here. Get myself squared away. There we go. That's lined up. That's lined up. Cool. And just give me a hot second here to punch my signal on some stuff here to make sure I have clean signal. That sounds pretty clean to me. Check. Get this stuff out the door here real quick. Here, almost done. YouTube tells me that I don't have a set schedule that I do these things, so it's kind of hard for me to like pre-schedule them, as I don't know how that's actually going to work out. But I'm just trying to make a thing happen, you know. So, okay, we are going to continue our work on the Ravnica Precognitive Mage archetype for MTG D&D 5e, inspired by the Cleric Corner's awesome flavor text, which is linked in below. Check out what he has to say about it, and also check out the link that I have there for the the Color Mana Spell Point Core and Knights and Tricksters bundle that I have here, which is probably going to need a new title sometime soon because it keeps just continuing to sprawl out with Spell Point Warlocks and Elemental Key for Color Mana and Elemental Magic. Way of the Four Elements, get the core mechanics. As this book continues to evolve, it's been out for about 2 years now, and as it continues to evolve and I continue to make use of it in my own games, I see how it can be better. And we are in the process of building better. So we've, if you check the playlist that this is inside the link, you'll see that we had gone from the basic idea of a clairsentient ranger that Cleric Corner had brought up. Thanks, Riker. That was awesome. And I've been going through the themes of what would a clairsentient ranger be. And from a 5-color mana perspective, that's pretty blue. So then we started diving into what does blue mean inside of Magic the Gathering and the 5-color magic system. And it led us, obviously, into Ravnica, where Azorius and Dimir play, as well as Eberron Dragon Marks, and then just general campaigns like spy networks and stuff for using what would be the most use for clairsentient from a mechanical perspective. And that led us into looking at different type of conclave ideas, and we landed pretty squarely on the Azorius Precognition. It's actually Precognitive Mages, which is undefined. Azorius is largely clerics, wizards, and paladins, according to the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. But the way that 5e likes to play is that try to squeeze the flavor of any class into an idea, which is what Cleric Corner is really great at. So expanding on that idea, how can we make the ranger flavor-wise fit into Azorius? And his idea about clairsentient rangers using their magical attunements and their supernatural awareness to explain how their ranger class abilities and conclaves manifest led us to, well, why don't we build a specific conclave for the ranger, which led us to the precognitive mages inside of Azorius, which then took us down the path of, well, how do we build out a white-blue ranger, which took us to this ranger variant where we have in the core mechanics books here. If you pick up this download, one of the zips that you get, zip files that you get, is this editable spell list of all the different classes, and this one specifically looking at the ranger, where all the different books that are published so far, and we'll continue updating this as new books come out, all the spells that exist and what colors that are devoted to according to these different aspects of magic that generally align with what the 5-color magic system and Magic the Gathering is, as well as looking at how the different damage types break down to different colors according to what we typically see inside of Magic the Gathering cards. So like white and blue, you see a lot of radiant, psychic, force, and cold damage. Blue, you see also a lot of cold and force and psychic, but also thunder damage. Red and green is where Ranger typically lives, which you'll see a lot of acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, poison, thunder damage. And if you go through the Ranger spell list, you're going to see stuff like that. Zephyr Strike with force damage. You see, let's find something else that does damage. A Charlatan's Stride, which is fire damage. You got Lightning Arrow, does lightning damage. Protection from energy. Keeps you safe from a wide array of energy types. Let's see, as we keep moving down the list, we got Summon Elementals, which is blue, red, and green magic. Steelwind Strike, which is force damage, both blue and red. So Swift Quiver is red and green. So you're seeing these damage spells that generally reflect red and green damage, but they also have a good smear into blue. So curving the Ranger into white blue Azorius isn't too difficult, but you need to make up ground for white. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little time today. We're going to look at Ranger class features, but we're also going to look at the Ranger as a core and the class features that go along with it. So we're here in D&D Beyond. Definitely worth the investment if you like to homebrew or you're a designer. We see how many spells does a Ranger know. They start with 2 and they end up with 11. And so it happens that if you pick up Azorius Synod as your background, you get access to the Azorius Synod spell list. Over here in the Precognitive Mage list, we have there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spells that come from Azorius. Of course, you don't get cantrips if you're a Ranger, but that's okay. And then, of course, the Conclave itself gives you an extra spell at their different levels. And it would actually be, the levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are actually gained at level 3, 5, 9, 13, and 17. So that has that progression. So you get these 5 spells, plus the Ranger gets 11 spells, which you would pluck 10 of. You could pluck 10 of them from this list, but then you could also, of course, go down here. And so if you want to stay inside the white-blue theme, magic identity that Azorius has, it starts cutting you off from different spells that you might want to have access to. Now, the core mechanics book goes into, and these are all 100% previews, so you could jump into any of these books, but the core mechanics book goes into the colors of magic, and it specifically says that you can learn a spell of an off color, and then you can research that spell and learn it to you can research it to be let's say like for example, bark skin is green, but you could research it so that you could learn it as white or blue, and then you would flavor it with Azorius magic. So instead of being covered with bark, this is where Cleric Corner really comes in and shines about his color identity and how to flavor things. But if you were to flavor it as Azorius magic, law magic, instead of being covered in bark, you would be covered in ribbons of code of different law magic that is protecting you by law. So that's how you can reflavor that stuff, and it's pretty easy to do that, and it's fun for flavor. But you would spend the research time to then develop bark skin as a white or blue, or if you wanted to double time it, white and blue, because when you're using mana, you need to have that color in your mana pool to be able to cast the spell. So one of the things that you can do to shortcut the white-blue process is, and I'm using these ideations as opportunities for me to expand on new rules that we'll have in upcoming revision for the core mechanics. What we have it comes from Strixhaven, it's lessons. So when you are taking when we rebuild this and we drop the classes in, we're going to do full rebuilds for all these classes using the pools that we have. So currently you know spells or you prepare spells, and that's all there is. That's as far as Wizards needs to take it, and they want to keep things simple. But the excitement and joy about using color mana is that it is an extremely strong flavor at the cost of more complicated mechanics. So you don't just learn or know spells, you have lessons. And then lessons become spells. So if you have, in the normal system, you would have 11 spells known as a ranger as of level 19. But in the new system, as we developed it, we would have 11 lessons that are learned as a ranger. One lesson equals learn a spell using its native color devotion. And we can see on the list here that the native devotion, the native color for bark skin is green. So if you want to learn, you could spend the time to research. Research equals learn a spell with one new color. So here we're using example. Bark skin equals green. So, hey, how you doing, man? Thanks. So if we're doing research, when you complete your research, you can learn the spell with one new color. So example, bark skin equals green, but now also white. So when you add it to your list, and that's why I provided you these editable spell lists when you pick up the book on DMsGuild, you can include white. You now know bark skin is a white spell. But what if you don't want to do the research? What you can do instead is you can spend 2 lessons equals learn a spell with one additional color per lesson. So, example, bark skin, 1 lesson equals green. Two lessons equals white and green. 3 lessons equals white, blue, and green. So when you're picking your mana pool, if you get 11, like at first level, that's really difficult. So when you start off at first level, you only know 2 spells. So flavor-wise, you could choose to have your mana split up among green, red, blue, and white. So you'd have your Azorius colors plus your native colors to Ranger, which are generally red and green. But if you wanted to stay flavor-centric with Azorius, then we have the expanded list that you get from Azorius automatically codes all those spells to white and blue. So instead of picking up red and green spells and then devoting your mana pool to red and green to cast those spells, you could choose to learn the Azorius spells of Command and Ensnaring Strike. Since Ensnaring Strike, let's go back up here and look at Ensnaring Strike. Normally, Ensnaring Strike is a green spell because it creates thorns and stuff that locks people down. But because it's on the Azorius' list, it automatically defaults to white and blue. So that's an example of where the conclave or the background that you pick up, like with Strixhaven, if you go Silver Quill, all the Silver Quill spells are going to be white and black, even if some of them are supposed to be black and red. So you get that white for free. It automatically changes the flavor over to that specifically. So you could instead, if you wanted to stay completely focused on being like totally legit Azorius with only white and blue mana, then you could pick up the Command and Ensnaring Strike. And then when you get the second level gives you at second level. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. At second level, that's when you start learning spells. So at second level, you know 2 spells, and you can pick up both your Azorius spells right away. At third level, you gain a Conclave, plus you gain an extra spell. So you have 3 spells, and of course you can change out the spells that you have. So the Precognitive Mage spell list at first it's a level 1 spell that you gain at third level. Of course, it's Silvery Barbs. That's a white and black spell. So for Azorius, it stays on task. Because Azorius is white magic, you would memorize this as a white spell if you want to stay in the Azorius pool. And then, if you wanted to, you could say swap out Command, and we were talking about Barkskin. Were we talking about Barkskin? We were talking about third level spell is, let's see, what's a first level spell that you might want to pick up? Let's say like Fog Cloud, for example. That's a great spell to have, but it's already blue, probably because of the water. So that, or because it's fog, which is air. It's like clouds, air, and water. So blue is very, very Fog Cloud. Or you could learn it as green. But since you're Azorius, you can keep it in blue. But let's say you wanted to learn Hunter's Mark. That's a super useful spell that like Rangers love. You could theoretically either at this point spend the coin to research Hunter's Mark to be a white spell. But snazzily enough, let's look at this. Precognitive Mage, its third level feature, is Arrestor's Admonition, which is you learn Hunter's Mark as a spell devoted to both white and blue magic. You get it for free. And it's automatically assigned white and blue, so you don't have to worry about messing with it. This doesn't account against your total spells known. And then, of course, the feature, I love this, we built this last night. As a reaction to when a creature you can see forces you to make a saving throw, if the save succeeds, you can cast Hunter's Mark targeting that creature. And again, this is as a reaction instead of as a bonus action. Alternatively, if you had already cast Hunter's Mark, you can switch your quarry to be the creature that you made your saving throw against. So you're picking up an extra spell, so you now are going to have not 3 spells, but at third level, using a Precognitive Mage, you're going to have 4 spells that you can learn. You can pick up 2 of them automatically as Azorius, you get a third spell, and you get Hunter's Mark. So you don't have to worry about learning Hunter's Mark as a green spell. But let's say you wanted to learn Snare. That's you probably don't need to because you already have Ensnaring Strike. So let's pick up, let's go with Speak with Animals. That's only green. Let's say you want to use Speak with Animals. You could use 2 lessons and change Speak with Animals to, let's say, blue for free. So you have that flexibility, and as you gain more and more levels, you can either afford the time and the gold to research these spells to be in Azorius, or if you want to burn lessons on it, you could switch it over to, like, when you gain second level spells at 5th level, you would have, how many lessons do you have at that point? You would have at 5th level, you have 4 lessons. So if you really wanted to have Barkskin, you could spend 2 lessons to automatically learn it as a white spell. But honestly, gold is like a non-issue in D&D. I recommend, as always, just to spend your gold on research, so you have a reason to have downtime, so your campaign has breath, and so you have some place to spend all your money. So definitely recommend research, but the lessons allow you to bend any spell that you know that you haven't had time to research yet to immediately have the color that you want. That's a lot more useful for wizards and stuff that have a huge book that they can afford to spend lots of lessons to learn spells in different colors. But I wanted to bring it up because it's one of the mechanics that we're going to see incorporated into the redesign for the Tap and Tap Burn core mechanics. So, having walked through that, what else are we doing with the Ranger? We're going to spend the rest of our time. We're going to talk about more mana mechanics later on on the next stream. But right now, we're going to look at the core features that are inside the Ranger and see what we can do to bend them into MTG or into the Precognitive Mage flavor more specifically. So let's go ahead and set that up. I don't know where this conversation is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be anything useful or not, but we're just going to play. We're just playing with stuff right now. So alternate class features. I'm going to go through each one of them, and if any of them end up seeming like something that we could bend, then we'll mark it down here, and then we'll add it to the PDF when we publish it. So let's look at favored enemy and natural explorers. And I know there's other alternate class features that came out with Tasha's and stuff. We'll look at those as well. But right off the cuff, let's look at this. Beginning at first level, you have significant experience studying, tracking, hunting, and even talking to certain types of enemies. Choose a type of favorite enemy. Aberration, blah, 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 or undead. Alternatively, you can select 2 races of humanoid as favorite enemies. Right off the bat, this tells me, let's see, favorite enemy. I'm going to drop down to the next page just to keep things easy for now. Favorite enemy. You can choose 2 guilds as your favorite enemies. For example, House Demir and Cult of Rakdos. Now that means that any demons, undead, humanoids, monstrosities, constructs that are in Cult of Rakdos, that are bound to the Cult of Rakdos, that are wearing their marking, that are identifying as Cult of Rakdos, you can now treat as a favorite enemy. And since you have 2 of them, House Demir, any undead, humanoids, I think they have some constructs and oozes that are identifying as House Demir, you can use as a favorite enemy. I don't think that actually exists inside of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, but it's so obvious. It should be allowed. So that's easy flavor. Let's see if there's anything else here that comes along that we need to make note about. You have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemy, as well as on intelligence checks to recall information about them. That seems very on point for the Azorius Senate. When you gain this feature, you also learn 1 language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemies, if they speak one at all. Like, for example, Infernal or Abyssal for Rakdos, as well as, say, Goblin. There's a lot of goblins in Rakdos. Those might make sense. Azorius, House Demir. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. There's some elves. I think there's some elves in House Demir. So, like, picking up Elvish might make sense. But leaning into Rakdos cult would make a lot more sense. You choose 1 additional favorite enemy as well as an associated language at 6th and 14th level. As you gain levels, your choice should reflect the types of monsters and encounters on your adventures. So if you're playing a precognitive mage, you might pick up, like, for example, the Gruul clans at some point because of eco-terrorism. And the other one that stands out, it might just be undead. I mean, you could switch it back. You can go to undead, or maybe you're fighting a lot of worms, so maybe you would take vermin. So there's that. That seems to make pretty much sense. That should be included. Let's go with, what's our next favorite? What's our next one? Natural Explorer. So let's see if there's anything we want to bend for Natural Explorer. You're particularly familiar with 1 type of natural environment and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. Choose 1 type of favorite terrain: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, underdark. When you make an intelligence or wisdom check related to your favorite terrain, your proficiency bonus is doubled. If you're using skills that are proficient, if you are using skills that you're proficient in. Oh, wow. So when you are making an intelligence check related to the favorite terrain. Thank you. Your proficiency bonus is doubled if you are using a skill that you are proficient in. While traveling for an hour or more in the favorite terrain, you gain the following benefits. Difficult terrain doesn't slow you. Group can't become lost. Even when you are engaged in another activity while traveling, such as foraging, navigating, tracking, you remain alert to danger. You're traveling alone. You can move stealthily at normal pace. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would. While tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. So, and you choose additional favorite terrain types. Okay, so let's go with, let's just grab these right off the cuff. So, Natural Explorer. I think it's pretty obvious that you can... How does that read? You can choose terrain by color. Let's go with white, blue, black, red, green. This is also something that could have been in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, but was not. So we'll go with call it. They don't have planes. Planes, sky, which is going to be defined as... Hey, Eric, I stay up late, I get up early. That's how it goes. Yeah, so let's see. We're looking at sky, which is above cloud line. Arctic. Blue is going to be coast. Sea. Rivers. Black is going to be swamp. Underdark. Red is mountains. Green is forest. Oh, there it is, grassland. Did I get them all? Underdark, swamp, mountain, grassland, forest, desert, coast, Arctic. Good. There. So this is going to give you a lot more flexibility when you're picking a color. As a ranger with Natural Explorer, you're going to get all those advantages. Colorless equals desert, urban. So, for example, you could pick urban in general, and that means pretty much all of Ravnica. So maybe we need to, but that would be too easy mode. But in normal campaign settings, like Forgotten Realms, only certain, like Waterdeep is an urban environment, but one of the outlying thorps 50 miles away isn't. That would probably be defined as either grasslands or forest, or a river, depending on where that thorp is located. So we would have, but like in the Theros campaign, this isn't just Ravnica. I mean, the Precognitive Mage is Ravnica specifically. But you could, I don't know the gods well enough in Theros to say, but you could have an oracle that, like a sect of oracles that are using the Precognitive Mage conclave. So they're, you would be able to bend into that, and the oracles are in a remote mountain range. So obviously urban as a setting wouldn't make sense there. But I will put a asterisk here. Let's see. Can't say sigil and DMsGuild products. Sorry. But yeah, definitely not an option in Ravnica because it's just too easy. The whole thing is urban. So, well, there are the Robo Belts, which is ruined. Ooh, good point. Let's go with ruins / Rebel Belt. There. Underdark. Under City. I don't know how fun this is to watch for anybody, but this is the ideation process that I go through when I build books. So you're kind of tagging along for that. That was the whole spiel. That's what I said I would do with Cleric Corner. So I build this stuff. So I'm doing a deep dive into building a Precognitive Mage as a Ranger Conclave, and that means I got to go through everything. So here we are, going through everything. So yeah, guild control. So you only really have to pick. You could, like, if you pick white as your color, that means you pick up both grasslands and Arctic. But you would also pick up Azorius controlled territory. So like if you are an arrestor in the Azorius League, in Ranger, it would make a lot of sense for you to pick up white or blue or both, because all you do is patrol your area. But like, say, a Boros Ranger that is aggressive, it would probably pick red, because both Rakdos, which they hate, has red, and Gruul, which they also fight with all the time, is also red. And then it would be a focus initially of, am I going to be urban and fighting cultists, or am I going to go into the Robobelts and pick green to take on Rakdos more? And then at 6th level, you could pick them both. So you'd have red, green, and black, all three of those colors, covering all cultist and Gruul clan activities. So, again, this is something that Wizards could have done, and it would have been easy for them to include this in Guildmaster's Guide, but they didn't want to do it. So, no hate. Let's see if there's any kind of mechanical thing beyond just labeling that we want to play with there. Choose additional higher levels. Okay. Difficult terrain doesn't slow you. So like if you go into the glooms of Cult of Rakdos regions, then going through all the trash-filled alleys, that wouldn't slow you down. Your group can't become lost. There's a lot of twisting, turning passages in the Undercity where Golgari runs, Golgari decomposes the forgotten parts of the city. You wouldn't get lost. When you're engaging in other activity while traveling, such as foraging and stuff, you remain alert to danger. Makes sense. You're traveling alone. You can move more stealthily at normal pace. It's super easy to slip through the streets on your own. When you forage, you find food twice as much food as you normally would. Especially as an arrestor, it's easy for you to just grab an apple off an apple cart and thank you for being a noble citizen. You can check their license to make sure that they are properly badged to be able to sell those apples, and you could either acquire all of them, or you can let them off the hook and just take enough for you and your friends. When you travel with other creatures, when you're tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. Because you can just ask anybody. It's like, hey, did you see this moot come through? It's like, yeah, I saw that guy with his guys like 5 minutes ago, and they were going that way. It's like, there was a really big one with them. Be careful about that. But is there any other... I don't need to give them any other mechanical advantages. I'm fine with that. So, fighting styles, they kind of speak for themselves. Don't think there's anything I need to include there. Spellcasting, we know what spellcasting is. Is that all the features? We're gonna say a lot about spellcasting when we get back to that, and that will probably be tomorrow's stream that we talk about the mana pool and spellcasting as a ranger. And we'll skip past spell slots for now. We already talked a little bit about learning lessons as opposed to spells, and lessons translate into spells, but we got more to say about that tomorrow too. I think you guys are going to like it, so definitely tune in. Spellcasting abilities stays put. Ranger archetypes. Let's see, we have that already. Oh, Primal Awareness. Okay, let's keep on with this. See what we get. Beginning at 3rd level, you can use your action and expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you for 1 minute per level when you get that 3rd level. Okay, so spend 1 point of mana because this has spell slots, and you start off with up to 4 first level slots, and then it bumps up to 2, and then it bumps to 3, etc. So let's see how powerful this is. Since you get it at 3rd level, you're only able to cast 1st level ranger spells. That tells us that it can't cost more than 1 mana. Like the Drake Warden, for example. Let's skip down to the Drake Warden, because this is interesting. The Drake Warden. Let's see. Combat. The Drake is friendly in combat, but blah. It remains until it reduces to 0. Until you use this feature to summon the Drake again, or until you die. Anything the Drake was wearing, blah. Once you summon the Drake, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of 1st level or higher to summon it. So again, this is pointing out specifically as a 3rd level feature, you're casting a 1st level spell or higher if necessary. So that reinforces the fact that we are using a 1st level spell or 1 mana to use this ability. So natural explorer, we're past that, spellcasting, past that, ranger archetypes, past that. Where were we? Primal awareness. Okay, great. So we spend a point of mana to focus our awareness in the region around us for 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend. You can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you. You spend 1 or more you can sense whether creatures, aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, undead. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. Okay, I don't think I need to make any more comments about that. Alternatively, you can use your action to expend one ranger slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend, you can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you. Or up to 6 if you're on terrain. Following types of creatures are present, but not their location. Why is it useful to spend a 5th level spell slot to sense if something is within 1 mile of you for 5 minutes, as opposed to a 1st level spell slot for 1 minute within 1 mile? What information are you going to attain that's worth spending a 5th level spell slot that you're going to learn 4 minutes from now that you wouldn't have learned for having used a 1st level spell slot? What is the advantage? Whether following types of creatures are present within 1 mile. Hey, thanks, bot. Do you know the answer? Because I don't see the difference. Why do I want to burn a 5th level spell slot ever for 5 minutes to sense within 5 miles? Is there like some sort of like high level chess that I'm knowing that a creature is going to be within 1 mile of me 3 minutes from now, so I need to spend a 3rd level spell slot? Because if I know that, why wouldn't I just wait the 3 minutes and spend a 1st level spell slot? It's like they're trying to give you a benefit to make it not hurt as much if you're out of 1st level spell slots. So that's stupid. What we're going to do instead is this feature lasts. Okay, we're just going to do this instead. Okay, we're going to do it this way. This feature taps 1 mana. It remains active until you dismiss the effect. Let's word it differently. You can sustain this ability for as long as you you sustain this ability while you can sustain this ability while 1 mana is tapped. You can tap 1 mana to sustain this ability until dismissed. Doing so burns the mana. There, we'll word it like that. I'm thinking I want to make it mana dependent. I want to make it blue or green to use it, but I don't want to require you to use a specific color mana to activate this ability. You don't have to have everything with a color theme, and a lot of abilities you don't, especially if it's a low utility cost. If we came up with something that hey, right on, man. If there was an ability, if there was a reason to use a specific color, like if a specific color granted you an advantage, it would probably be you can tap 1 mana to sustain this ability until dismissed. I don't want to do that because I don't want to require you to pick up black mana to be able to have Primal Awareness in the swamp. Like I don't want you to. I want an Azorius Mage to be able to have just white and blue mana. So I don't want it to be like if you tap black mana, then you could use it in a swamp. The idea I was having is like if you could use any color mana, but if you tap black, then you could sense out the 6 miles. But your favorite terrain is already covering that. So I think I need to let go of the idea until dismissed, burning the mana when you do so. Oh, that's what it is. If the how do they word that? If you are in your favored terrain, you can untap the mana when it's dismissed. Otherwise, the mana is burned. Nice. That's the advantage that you gain. There. I like that. That feels really cool. Primal Awareness is like such a nothing ability. Like, yeah, there's stuff here. Good job. There's just not enough juice to it, considering how limited the ranger already is. I protest that ability. I always have. So let's see. Extra attack. And you change land stride. Starting at 8th level, moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them and without taking damage from them. Okay. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created or manipulated to impede movement, such as those created by the Entangle spell. So, is there anything that we would do to modify this as a precognitive mage? Land stride seems like a no, but let's go back and revisit the Primal Awareness real quick. No, I'm good with that. Land stride, hide in plain sight. Starting at 10th level, you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, dirt, blah, 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 or naturally occurring materials with which to create your camouflage. Once you are camouflaged in this way, you can try to hide by pressing yourself up against a solid surface, a wall. At least as tall and wide as you are, you gain a +10 to your dexterity stealth checks as long as you remain there without moving or taking action. Once you move or take action, you must camouflage yourself again to gain this benefit. Yeah, okay. I don't see us changing that from Precognitive Mage, and I don't see us changing that because of... I don't see how color plays into that. Okay, great. We'll just leave that be. Vanish. Starting at 14th level, you can use the hide action as a bonus action on your turn. Also,
You can't be tracked by non-magical means unless you choose to leave a trail. Okay, that doesn't require any kind of mana. And the Precog Conclave doesn't particularly line up with this. Dusk Mantle. I might change things about this or Dusk Mantle, but that's not where we're at right now. Feral Senses. At 18th level, you gain preternatural senses that help you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your inability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls against it. You're also aware of the location of any invisible creatures within 30 feet of you, provided that the creature isn't hidden from you and you aren't blinded or deafened. Okay, that's very precognitive, so I'm good with that. Info Slayer. You become an unparalleled hunter of your enemies. Once on each of your turns, you can add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll or the damage roll of an attack you make against one of the creatures. Okay, I'm good with all those. And then it's not listing where these are coming from. What a stinker. Oh, no. Yep. All right, let's see what we can see here. We're going to finish up these alternate optional class features, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, what up? Phil. All right, Depth Explorer, which replaces Natural Explorer feature. You are unsurpassed explorer and survivor both in the wilderness and in dealing with others on your travel. You gain the canny benefits. You gain the canny benefit below, and you gain an additional benefit below when you reach 6th level and 10th level class features. Okay, let's check this out. Choose one of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses the chosen skill. You can also speak, read, and write 2 additional languages. Nothing to shake a stick at that. Roving. Your walking speed increases by 5, and you gain climbing speed and swinging speed equal to your walking speed. Can't shake a stick at that. Tireless. As an action, you can give yourself a number of temporary hit points equal to D8 plus your wisdom modifier. You can use this action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, when you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level, if any, is decreased by 1. Wow, that's insane. Okay, Nothing to shake a stick at that. We'll leave it be. Favored foe. As opposed to favorite enemy. So, what does favorite foe say? Which replaces the favorite enemy feature and works with the Foe Slayer feature. When you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can call on your mystical bond with nature to mark the target as the favorite enemy for 1 minute, or until you lose your concentration, as if you were concentrating on a spell. The first time on each of your turns that you hit the favorite enemy and deal damage to it, including when you mark it, you can increase that damage by D4. You can use this feature. Oh, okay. For 1 minute, that seems. Hold on. It's been a while since I looked at this. God, it only lasts for a minute. That's rough. Okay. I have no reason to change that. But I do need to make mention of it. So, beep, 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 beep. Where'd it go? Considered to be a cantrip. Favorite foe is considered to be a cantrip for calculating the DC, for determining your current concentration DC. Because you get 1 cantrip for free, the DC is 10. But if you were, say you're 9th level and you can cast up to 3rd level spells, you could have favored foe. Ooh, neat. Let's do that. This feature is considered to be a cantrip for determining the current concentration DC. This feature can be sustained as though it is a cantrip, because you can tap a cantrip and maintain it indefinitely. One of them you get for free at DC 10, but you can tap. If you want to tap more than one, you have to start spending mana on it. So this feature can be sustained as though it is a cantrip for determining the your current concentration DC. So like if you were to use favored foe, a 9th level ranger with a max spell level of 3 gets a cantrip for free and then gets 3 additional spell levels that you can maintain concentration on. So you could theoretically, after the first cantrip, or after you mark the first favored foe, you could theoretically mark additional favored foes up to a total of 4 if you want to tap 3 mana on top of the free cantrip to do so. So your DC has 3 mana tapped. It's 10 plus the amount of mana tapped. Each cantrip past the first costs 1 mana to maintain. So you could theoretically maintain 4 favored foes at the same time indefinitely if you're willing to burn 3 mana to do so. There you go.
And all these rules are explained in the core mechanics. So this is offered, if this is offered alongside core mechanics, which of course is 100% free to preview. Cantrips can untap mana when dismissed, unless they are disrupted, burning one of the mana. There. So, next. Okay. Add additional spells to the list of ranger spells. This is a note to myself to add those spells to the full ranger list here. They are currently not included. I would need to, I think that's accurate. I think it is accurate to include these. Maybe if I put an asterisk next to it and just have an asterisk up there that says these have been added. I need to do that. That's an update I can do. Cool. So let's see. Beyond that, like I said, it's always a work in progress. And that's what I love about PDFs. You can always update them. It doesn't cost anyone any extra money to print them. Finding spell options. We'll move past that. So we already have them. That's a lot of spells. Good. Learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the druid spell list. They count as ranger spells for you. And wisdom is your spellcasting ability for them. Okay. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of these cantrips with another cantrip from the druid spell list. Great. There. Spellcasting focus. You can use a druidic focus as a spellcasting focus with your ranger spells. A druidic focus might be a sprig, mistletoe, and blah blah blah. That up real quick. Yeah, no. What time is it? 11:55. It's almost time. Luckily, we're almost done. So I know one of the benefits of the Azorius Ascent, I believe when you reach a certain level of renown, you gain a signet. So hold on real quick. Let's find out when that happens, because that could absolutely be used as a focus. Legal authority. Party rank and renown official. Just a car. So freaking cool. What a great name.
Azorius Charm. There you go. Guild Charm is a magical effect. When did I gain that? I gained that at rank 2. Let's make sure it doesn't already do that. The Guildmaster of the Charms Guild can revoke the charm as an action, but otherwise the charm can't be removed from the object on which it was placed, or anything short of divine intervention or wish spell. The charms associated with each guild are as below. Charm. You can cast a hold person spell, command, or counter spell. The charm vanishes after you activate it. Cool. Yep, that's pretty straightforward. What's next? Primal Awareness. You learn the additional spells when you reach Yeesh. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't take this over. Why would you ever take Primal Awareness when Primal Awareness gives you all this? It's ridiculous. Man, that's a lot of spell power you're getting. Martial versatility. Each level, a level in the class that grants you ASI. You can replace a fighting style. Let's go with Primal Awareness. Woo. Can use a lesson to learn these spells devoted to one additional. Color or research them to add one or more colors as usual. So you gain them for free, but you can still either spend a lesson to change the color they're devoted to, or to spend money to research and learn them. You don't just have a giant catalog of spells that you can learn in any color just because the spells have existed for millennia. They're always green. Like speak with plants is always green. You learn it, but you have to personally study it so that you can learn it as a different color. The spell is green, but your practice with that spell and your personal devotion to understanding the magic is what allows you to change the color. You can't just go to a catalog and buy a bunch of spells that are already pre-baked as just white mana. You got to learn it yourself and make those spells your own. That's how lessons work. That's how research works. You make it your own. You bend it to your own flavor of magic, because that is your personal development in magic, which is certainly missing from 5e. Martial versatility, nature's veil. Let's see. 10th level feature, which replaces hide in plain sight. I don't know why you wouldn't do this. You draw on the powers of nature to hide yourself from view briefly. As a bonus action, you can magically become invisible along with any equipment you are wearing or carrying until the start of your next turn. You can use this feature a number of times, including a proficiency bonus, and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Yeah, there's no reason to change that. So. I don't know. Would I own? Would I add Primal Awareness to the base? The additional ranger spells are added to the list for you to choose from to learn. But this class feature, Primal Awareness, does it replace another one? Yeah, because that replaces the Primeval Awareness feature. So these would not automatically be added to the ranger spell list, because this is an optional class feature. It's not just something that's added on. So this would not apply. There. Let's go fetch these spells. Blah! Boy, that is an ugly, ugly chart. Hard no. Let's open a new list here. Let's do it like that instead. Explorer. All right. Hey, that's all the class features. So we'll be able to add these to the back end of the book, and these alternate class features, these things will be placed into the Rangers section of the revised core mechanics book once it's completed. It's going to take a while though. So I'm building out each section. Like currently I just have a few footnotes about how mana in general changes how the class works, but I'm going to do a much deeper dive because there's a lot more nuance that we can add to color mechanics using all the base class features, considering how the color system has developed over time, which I'm really excited about, but it's a big project. So I'm gonna have to approach it in small chunks like this. So I'm going to finish ideation on this. We're going to go through mana mechanics, lessons, and what you can do with lessons. We're going to go into that further on tomorrow's session, and that is pretty much. I'll then strip this out, and then drop it into its own Word document for the Precognition Mage. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and cut stream here. I've had a lot of fun. Thanks for showing up, folks. We're going to do some more of this again tomorrow night, probably about the same time, hopefully a little bit earlier, like maybe 10 o'clock PST, and then get some sleep. So I'm going to go grab a nap and then jump back into this before my day at work. So catch you guys later.